I don't feel like it's my time to die, but if that's what my path is, then I need your help, God, because I don't really know how to navigate these waters. So what was important for me in all of that was having faith, but surrounding myself with the right support.
This episode of Rethink Fit and Grow Podcast is brought to you by JannineQuinn.com, professional life coach and mentor.
The fitness world is changing. Fitness celebrities, expert trainers, bodybuilders, and athletes are learning how to redefine fit. On the Rethink Fit and Grow podcast, you're going to hear real-life stories from the heart, tales of transformation, and learn how you can be part of this worldwide movement. And now, it's time to Rethink Fit and Grow with your host, Della Fatui.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Rethink Fit and Grow Podcast. Here, we bring you incredible stories of fantastic people who have gone through their own transformation in the fitness world. Those celebrities who are changing the world as we speak. They have their passions, and through living those passions, they are impacting this world in a positive way every single day. Today's incredible story is coming from a beautiful woman, Janine Quinn. Janine is a certified life coach, a health coach, a personal trainer. She's also a practicing human resources professional with over 30 years of experience. Janine is passionate about fitness and was a former natural bodybuilding competitor, placing in several competitions. She also has a passion for dance and is an amateur ballroom dancer who competes with her pro partner. Janine is also a recent pancreatic cancer survivor. She has become involved in supporting others going through this deadly diagnosis and disease. As a result, Janine has begun work on several new projects, writing her personal journey to share the knowledge she has learned to support others, and becoming an advocate for pancreatic cancer research with Pancreatic Cancer Canada. Janine is here today, and we are going to spend the next 45 minutes or so talking to her, getting to know her a little bit more, and finding out about her passion projects. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome on Rethink Fit and Grow Podcast, beautiful Janine Quinn. Hello there.
Good morning, Della. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm so happy that you're here today, Janine.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be part of this and be on the podcast. It's really exciting.
Let's get started, shall we? Janine, you are today a life coach and a mentor. Going back a few years ago, when you were doing those fitness competitions, was this something that you had envisioned for yourself, becoming a life coach?
At that point in time, no, it was not. I've had a passion for fitness pretty much all of my adult life. And when I was working with a trainer who was a friend of mine, she suggested to me that I might want to consider natural bodybuilding because of the journey that it took you on, how you could see your own body change and morph into something new naturally, not with any type of steroids or anything like that. Change my nutrition up. That part was really interesting. I really embraced that journey and embraced the opportunity that I had working with her. I never at that time thought that it would lead me to the path of being a life coach and a mentor.
It's so funny how our lives change and our paths change. And all of a sudden, one day you wake up and it's like, oh, how did I get here? All these experiences that bring us to the present moment. When you think back at the way you used to look at fitness back then, How is it different? How has it changed?
Certainly, we've talked about it a lot, and the podcast we've had with other folks in Rethink Fit and just the discussions around it being holistic, mind, body, and spirit. I would say certainly at the time, back when I was competing, it really was about how could you get your body to look its best. Yes, that was through different ways of eating. Your nutrition was different. You had rigorous workouts to make sure that you could maintain muscle mass that you developed. I would say that myself, I've always been a positive person, so I can't say that I slipped back and thinking, well, I can't eat these certain things and I can't have this and that's really going to set me back. I didn't think that, but I would tell you that I don't know that it was so much mind and spirit as it was physical.
So when did it all start for you?
After I did my last competition, some things in my personal life changed, and my mom then, a few years after that, lost her second husband, and that really opened up my eyes in terms of how do we navigate this new landscape when the child becomes the parent. And our mom had some dementia, so it was really considering how now do I look at helping her stay healthy, helping her keep moving, helping her stay positive as much as my sister and I could. I mean, it's a difficult path to go down. I would say at that point is when it really struck me that I wanted to learn more and become a health coach. And during that journey, I also decided to become a life coach.
Janine, when you look back, what are some really important points in your life where things happen that have had just immense impact on your journey? What would some of those be?
Sure. Certainly competing in bodybuilding was, I say that because it was a big high to realize that I could change my body so much naturally. Going to a first competition, actually placing. It was just so exhilarating to do that. That was a big moment for me. And there were some other moments. I wouldn't necessarily say they were happy moments, but they were certainly life-changing moments. My sister and I lost our father when we were 15 very suddenly from a heart attack, and he was only 48 years old. We grew up on a dairy farm, so as life was going along, all of a sudden this happens and it changes how you view the future. What you thought was your security blanket, your place that you can be safe, it changed for sure. I had a divorce about 8 years ago that really was, I'm wanting to choose the right words here. It was life-changing. I've worked with a couple energy healers, and the one energy healer said to me, she said, is there something that's happened in your life that you just could not wrap your mind around, that you just could not believe happened? And that immediately came to my mind because of how that all played out, but it definitely was life-changing for me. Then I found dance after my mom passed away because she had dementia and had heart surgery and hip surgery. So my sister and I became the parent and learned a lot about aging and long-term care. And you learn to embrace and learn and understand. It's not easy. It's incredibly difficult to go through that with a parent. And there are things we just don't know until we actually get there in that moment, and things that you learn. And I would say the last 6-8 months of my mom's life is when I really started to recognize more and be aware more that I needed to be present in the moment with her each second that I had. And then I started applying that in the rest of my life. I don't think it's that we don't know those things. I think we need a jolt sometimes to make us see the importance of it. So that was a life-changing moment. And then I found dance just actually before my mom passed away. A friend introduced it to me, and I never really thought about ballroom dancing, never even inquired about it. My sister and I did ballet and jazz when we were younger, and I, of course, stopped that and got into fitness and went down that path. And a friend said, well, this is a really great way to get out and to dance, and you don't have to have a partner. If you don't have a partner, you don't have to have a partner. You meet new people. There's social events. It's great. So she actually surprised me with a lesson. And that is how I met my dance partner. So it's the most exhilarating experience I think I've ever felt. When I'm dancing on the dance floor, I think of nothing except dancing, and it's the most freeing feeling. I don't even sometimes know how to put that into words to explain it to people, but it's exhilarating. That definitely was a life-changing moment for me. And we've gone to many competitions, and I have a dance instructor partner here in Canada as well, and dance when I'm here. So it's wonderful to have that opportunity and to be able to go and dance and practice and go to competitions once in a while.
How exciting.
It's wonderful. Every woman loves to get dressed up and beautiful dresses on and beautiful makeup, beautiful hair.
Yes.
You feel like a queen. It's really wonderful.
Yes.
Well, as we know, COVID hit all of us last year. And I think my own opinion of that is that it was and is meant to be a time for us all to stop and take stock of where we're at in life and what's important to us. And are we really taking the time to take care of ourselves and slow down? We're all guilty, self included, of being too busy. We've got too many things on the agenda. We're trying to do it all, trying to go places, trying to get this in, trying to get that in. And it stopped us, all of us. Of course, as that's happening, as we entered COVID lockdown last year, I ended up having some discomfort. A couple of times it just didn't feel right to me in my stomach. And I followed through and got in to see my doctor and got a bunch of tests, all as soon as lockdown started. So I am continued to be grateful and thankful that I got that attention during such a tough time. And all that to say, it was a diagnosis of pancreatic cancer. So cancer also decided to pay me a visit. So, of course, that has been life-changing in the last 18 months.
You're not kidding about that. Definitely life-changing. You're doing well, Janine?
I am doing well. I'm grateful to say tomorrow will be, the 22nd of July will be my 1-year anniversary of my surgery date. And I am alive and here to celebrate it. So I cannot feel more blessed and grateful about that.
Yay. That's great. That's great celebration.
It is a celebration. And my CAT scan after chemo finished, I had the CAT scan in April and there was no evidence of disease. So that is also another blessing.
Yes.
By the grace of God, I have been healed. And I am so thankful to be able to be here in this life.
Yes. Every day when I wake up and I open my eyes, I'm like, thank you. Another day, another breath, another day.
Yes, absolutely. Another day of new opportunities.
So you've gone through so much, Janine, a lot of trials of your own. And sometimes when we go through tough times, we get stuck in a place of poor me. What did you learn through all of this? All of everything that's happened to you, and most recently your battle with cancer. What are some lessons that you have learned?
You ask a good question, and there are some valuable takeaways in all of that. And I would start with going back to when my father passed away, because that was very sudden. I was 15, my sister was 11, and my mom worked. So my mom did not work on the farm. She worked out. She was actually in HR. So,
wow, that's funny.
I know, right? I wasn't really intending to follow my mother's footsteps, but she certainly wasn't doing what I was doing, but she was in that field. And I would say from that experience, because that was really, if you think about it in my early life, that was the first life-changing experience I had, because no longer is there mom, dad, the family unit, and we're all together and life's going to go on. And, I'm going to grow up. Parents are going to get older. All of those things. Seeing you get your license, graduating from high school, college, university, all of those things, getting married. My father never got to see any of that. And I remember, and I still have it somewhere, but my mother gave me I don't want to call it a poem, but it's a verse, but it talks about, life is going to happen. Change is going to happen. Things are going to come along that hurt you, that upset you, not just all the good things, but there are going to be things that really take you down a different path. And those are the valleys in life. And it's okay that we're sad. It's okay that we feel what we feel, but life is still going to move forward. And we have to determine and choose how we're going to move forward with it. One of the lessons I would tell you, though, that I learned out of that, you can't let people tell you, well, it's been this long and you should be over it by now. In terms of losing a loved one, whether it's a spouse, a child, a parent, I'm going to say it from a parent perspective because it's not my spouse or my child. From that perspective, you never get over it. You adapt and you learn how to live life without that person there, but you never really get over it. You get through it. And I think that was a good lesson to learn. With all of the care that we went through with my mother, again, I mentioned to you that really was difficult. And personally, it tore at my heart because she would cry when I would get there because she wanted to see me. And she would cry when I would leave. So I would cry all the way home. So that was difficult. But between my sister and I, we tried to be there, every day, every weekend, as much as we could to be with her because she hated to be alone. And it was difficult to watch her go through all of that and lose her mobility. And she never forgot who we were. She always knew who we were. But she wanted her husband. She wanted her sister. She didn't remember where all those people went. So a lesson learned out of that is how do you talk to her without saying, well, don't you remember they're gone? You can't have that conversation with someone who doesn't remember. So you learn to play along and you learn to find other ways to say, well, they're busy doing this. They're not able to be here right now. So we're here. And we try to change the subject and do something to kind of take her mind away from it so that it doesn't make her feel inadequate, I guess, or less of, I don't know what word to use there. We didn't want to demean how she was feeling.
Sure. You must have learned so much compassion and patience through that experience.
It was incredible. My sister and I learned a lot from that. Mm-hmm. Not to get into details, but when you have, certainly she had care and we made sure that she had extra care when we couldn't be there. I will be the first to say, I really feel my heart goes out to people who have parents in long-term care because it certainly is not adequate. And we were there as much as we could be to help, to make sure that she got the care that she needed. It got to a point where she did need some help eating and she wasn't able to have regular food. She needed not necessarily pureed, but it was all of that. It's such a hard thing to go through, but I will tell you now, after all of it, I would not change it. I would not change going through all of that and learning how to adapt, learning how to have more compassion, learning how to love her through all of that and remember and talk to her about the person that she was or thought is, right, in her mind, because it's hard to know what they're thinking.
Yeah.
We just really didn't know. And we were actually with my mom at the very end and when she died. And as hard as that was, I would not change it for a second because we got to say goodbye. It was difficult. Our dad died suddenly and, one morning he's there and then we come home at night and he's gone. And we had about a 5-year journey with my mom. It taught us a lot.
Yes. It sounds like what you missed out on losing your dad. You got to do it differently with your mom. You got a lot of time with your mom to say your goodbye.
We did. And I'm grateful that we had that. And I'm grateful that I had this intuition, or call it whatever you will. I'm going to say intuition. I think it was God tapping me on the shoulder going, hey, you need to be present because these are some of the last times when it was nice out that spring before she died in July, I remember taking her for a walk in her wheelchair, and she had me stop, and she goes, listen to the birds. They're so beautiful, and the sun is so warm. And it made me, I actually started to cry, because I'm thinking, but what if this is the last time she feels it and hears the birds?
Yeah.
What does that feel like? And it really struck me. I guess the big, again, I think we all know it. We just we're not awakened to it as much as we should be. And maybe COVID's made us more like that now.
Yes.
I hope.
And sometimes we're being, not sometimes, all the time, we are being put in situations that are meant to teach us lessons. And so,
yes, I believe.
Right? And so you took a lot of lessons from every single experience, it seems. And so one of the most valuable lessons from this time with your mom, maybe it was, being present, staying in the present. Who knows how many other lessons you took from that experience?
Very true. And I do really feel that awareness and being in the present moment was a big part of that. Certainly compassion. We all can lose our patience when people get older, especially our parents, and, they're a little slower. Things can't do certain things. And you really have to dig deep. And especially when she was going through the first stages of it, we really had to dig deep and go, okay, but I can't get cross with her because she knows, but she doesn't know. So I need to help her. I need to not demean her, not make her feel inadequate in any way, but try to find another way to communicate. So that was a big lesson, to learn how to do that and have patience and have compassion and kindness and be respectful of what was happening to her.
Yes. A lot of people are going through something similar, and it's tough, as you said, Janine. If you could give people any words from your experience, anything that might help them if they're going through a situation like this, what would they be?
I did give advice to someone, and I said, what's really important is that you realize you may not understand it. So I think it's also good to educate yourself if it's Alzheimer's or if it's dementia, whatever it may be, because there is some good information out there to help you navigate those waters, to learn how to communicate with a parent who's going through that or a loved one, and making sure that you really take the time to be present. And I mean, shut your phone off, put it away. If you're going to be with that person, be with that person. Learn about them, talk to them, let them tell you about their life. Maybe you've heard it 10 times. It's okay. Hear it again. Maybe there's something new, but actually be present. It's not something that you'll be sorry you did when that person, your loved one's time is up and they're gone. I say, looking back, it's been rewarding is not the word I want, but there's peace in my soul to know that I took a step back and wanted to make sure that I was really trying to be present every single time I was with my mom. I mean, we're all guilty. Look, I'm not saying I did it well, but I tried really hard every time to be present and be with her and just communicate. Or even if we didn't communicate, if she wanted to watch one of the movies they were playing, we'd sit and she'd hold my hand and we'd watch the movie. Some I'd never seen, and she remembered them. So that's great. Those are things I would never have done. So as I say, take time to educate yourself about whatever it is that your loved one's going through. How do you continue to communicate with them? Be respectful, have compassion, be present, experience the moments, because those are moments you'll never get back, and you won't be able to do it differently.
Thank you, Janine.
That's your opportunity.
Thank you. These are healing words. We're actually going to take a short break to hear from our sponsor, and we will be right back.
Okay, great.
This episode of Rethink Fit and Grow Podcast is brought to you by Janine Quinn, JannineQuinn.com, professional life coach and mentor.
Hi, this is Janine Quinn. The Magnetic Leader Program is a 12-week private one-on-one program working directly with me. I only have a few spots available each month for the people who have made the commitment to show up and be the best version of you that you can be. Are you ready to commit? Are you ready to take that next step? If so, please visit my website at www.JannineQuinn.com. There you will find the links to message me directly or by email. I offer a complimentary call for all new clients. In that call, we're going to talk about understanding exactly what's holding you back, how you can be crystal clear on what it is that we need to do next to unlock your potential, and feeling motivated to move to the next level in your life. I am excited to hear from you and really look forward to you reaching out so we can work together. Again, please visit my website, www.JannineQuinn.com, and you can find my contact information there. See you soon.
This episode of Rethink Fit and Grow Podcast is sponsored by JannineQuinn.com. And we're back with Janine Quinn on Rethink Fit and Grow Podcast. So going through something like that, something as devastating as being diagnosed with cancer, I mean, it's scary. I can't imagine going through something like this and the courage that it took for you to go through it. How are you transferring all of that knowledge? How are you helping people through what, they may consider as this is the scariest time of my life?
Thanks, Stella. It's been a journey, definitely. I will say this because I believe that let's bring faith into it a little bit, if I may. Faith is what gets me through. It gives me strength when I go through hard times. I knew in my heart something was wrong, and I only had this funny little pain. And my first thought was, it's where my pancreas is. Don't ask me why I thought that. I don't know, because I had no symptoms. I did not have the normal symptoms. I don't even know if I can really tell you that when we say people are scared, I don't know if I can tell you that I felt scared. I just had this pit in my stomach that I knew something was wrong, and I knew I needed answers. And luckily I got all the tests, and I ended up advocating for myself and finding the top surgeon at Princess Margaret in Toronto who deals with pancreatic cancer, and got to that person. And I have that person to thank for saving my life. So my faith was a very big part of getting me through all of that and all the worries that I had about it, and thinking, well, I don't feel like it's my time to die, but if that's what my path is, then I need your help, God, because I don't really know how to navigate these waters. So what was important for me in all of that was having faith, but surrounding myself with the right support. And I encourage people, whenever they're going through something tough, don't be afraid to reach out and get the support that you need. But I will say, I think it's critical that you are selective, if I may use that word, about who you surround yourself with to support you. People are scared, and I understand that. And there's a lot of fear around it, of course. But it's important to make sure that the people around you love you, support you, try to learn about what is going on, like how can they help you. But it's also your responsibility to use your voice and say, this is what I need from you. This is how I need you to show up for me. I think that's important, because I think people don't do that. And there's an expectation that we're going to have all of these things, or all of these things are going to come to us and help us. We don't really know what they are, but we don't say what we want. And I think communicating that is effective. So that's another point I would share with people, is that you need to be very clear, as clear as you can. I mean, that may change, but as clear as you can in the moment, identifying what it is you need from others to help you, to get you through.
Thank you for that. That's a really good point, actually, because we don't ask for what we want. And we often feel like people should just know. We have these expectations, and people are not mind readers. And we often end up getting ourselves disappointed. So asking for what we need is really, really good point, Janine. Thank you for that. Okay, what else?
Another thing I tell people, and this is something that I actually am really passionate about, is if I use cancer as the example, when you get confirmation of that diagnosis, you are going to feel like your power is taken away. There's fear. You're scared. There's huge fear about what's going to happen next. What are they going to tell me to do? I don't know what to do. I'm a realist. So as soon as I knew what was going on, it's like, okay, what do I have? All right. So what do we need to do? I don't like any of these things that you're telling me. I don't like the fact that I'm going to have surgery. And I'm just going to insert this little part here because I've never had anything like that ever in my life. And I'm thinking, but I spent all those years working out and bodybuilding and I have these great ab muscles. Now what's going to happen to them?
Thank you for that. No, it's really good because sometimes our mind goes there.
Get over it. But I'm very passionate about a person being able to take an active role in whatever's going on in their life. So I ask questions, find out what you can. Don't be afraid to ask. Just because somebody's supposed to be the specialist or the one that's most knowledgeable doesn't mean to have all the answers. And it doesn't hurt for you to find out as much as you can about the situation that you're going through so that you can ask good questions. And I hope with being a volunteer mentor with Pancreatic Cancer Canada and advocating is that will help people to learn to find their voice to ask those things, because a lot of people are afraid, right? The surgeon tells you this is what's going to happen. You go, oh, okay, that's what I'm going to do. But there are other alternatives and there's other information out there. And I will say from my own journey, and this is part of the communication piece and who you surround yourself with, but I decided to control the narrative, if I can use those words, about who I told and who was around me to support me. And one of the hashtags for Pancreatic Cancer Canada is survival, not sympathy. We all know that when people hear that you have cancer, their first response usually is, I'm sorry. I didn't want to hear I'm sorry. Me personally, I did not want to hear that. For me, that was a negative. It's like, no, this is not going to be a sorry time. I'm going to have to do all these things that don't sound like a whole lot of fun, but I want to live and I need to get through that. So I need to know and ask questions and understand what's going to happen. So I wanted to feel like I still had control and I still had power. So I think that's another important point for people is don't feel that just because this thing has happened, you've lost your power. You still have your power. Sure, you may need to sit back and lick your wounds for a little bit, but there's strategies to move forward and pick yourself up. And how do we continue on?
Janine, I have a question. You said the worst thing someone wants to hear is, I'm sorry. The words, I'm sorry. What is the best thing we can support someone going through specifically, a deadly diagnosis? How can we support that person? With what words?
I know I really struggled with the I'm sorry, but I know that there were a few people that said to me, well, I'm really sorry that you're having to go through this. I think hearing that versus I'm sorry, because in my mind was thinking, if you're telling me I'm sorry, we all know what people think when someone tells you they've got a pancreatic cancer diagnosis. It has a 92% mortality rate. So I just didn't want to hear I'm sorry. I believe you need to acknowledge that the person has fear, the person is scared, asking how you can support them, what can you do for them, are good questions. And those are things that I appreciated from the few people that knew around me is how can I help you? What do you need from me? I don't know how you're going through this. I'm sorry that you're going through this, but I want to help you. That to me helped me more than just hearing I'm sorry.
Thank you. That's good. What do you want people to know about you, Janine?
Gosh, there's a lot of things. Basically, though, I want people to know that I love life. I love my family. I have a strong faith. I'm adventurous. I love to do things. I love to laugh. I love to spend time with the people I care about. But most importantly, I want people to know that, as I think we all should be doing, but every day I'm trying to do my best to show up as my best self. Gosh, I'm not perfect. None of us are. And every day I'll learn new things. And would like people to know that, I continue to strive to be authentic, to have integrity, to be respectful, to have compassion. There are a lot of things in life that you go through that help you learn those lessons, maybe more deeply. Not that you don't have those things or have those character traits, act on those character traits, but I think there are lessons in life that help you learn them better.
You're wonderful. Janine, who would benefit from working with you?
People who are certainly going through a divorce. I've been down that path too. That was not a good path for me. And I kind of surprised myself at my own strength through that about 8 years ago. So there were a lot of lessons learned out of that. Anyone who has aging parents, sudden death of a parent, sudden death of a loved one, I think just death in general. We've lost, my sister and I, we've lost a lot of people in our family, and our parents are both gone. Aunts and uncles are gone. So there's a lot of, we've been through a lot. And I think there is a lot that I can support someone with if they're going through the death of someone very close to them. Certainly cancer, now that I've experienced that. Everyone's journey will be different, but I do believe that there are steps that we can talk through that would help someone on that journey and how they choose to move forward. And of course, the path of dementia, long-term care, caring for an aging parent might not be dementia, but even if it has to go to long-term care, those are bumpy roads. They really are. And I would tell you to this day, it makes me tear up when I see people with a walker or in a wheelchair. Our mom was there, so I still find that difficult.
In the face of adversity, you say there are 3 types of behaviors.
There are.
Do you want to elaborate on those?
Mm-hmm. And I will tell you where I heard about that. When I was going through my cancer diagnosis, I found a site and I was listening to a video from the person who had the site. And he talked about it in terms of cancer, but I thought, gosh, it's true just in any situation that we have in life. And there really are 3 behaviors. When you get the news about some challenge, whatever that may be, it might be divorce, it might be death, it might be a serious illness, maybe it's a job loss, but there's really 3 behaviors that we show up in one way or the other of them. So the first one being, okay, I've got this news, I've received this news, I'm just going to bury my head, life is over, I don't even know how I'm going to move forward, that's it. Whatever I had planned for the future is done because this thing happened. So basically, giving up. The person's giving up. The second type of behavior that shows up is, okay, I've got this news. So now I'm just going to rely on people around me. I'm going to rely on, it might be medical experts. It might be other people that have knowledge in the field. I'm going to rely on those people to tell me how I need to behave, what I need to do, how I need to get through it. I'm not going to try to do it on my own. I'm going to let other people direct me down that path, regardless of how it makes my life turn out. The third behavior that shows up is, okay, I've got this news. So what am I going to do? Sure, it's devastating. It's not what I expected. It's not the valley in life that I wanted to experience. I need to sit back, kind of take stock of where I'm at. So what are the good things I have? What are the things that are going to change? And I still want to have a great life. So what do I need to do? How do I need to change things around me and perhaps connect with some different people to support me on that journey that are going to continue to be positive and uplift me and not allow the naysayers to come in and change my mind and make sure that I'm making those choices for me, for my life.
Thank you. This is true for any struggle that we go through, any bad news that we get. Definitely, I could see myself in one of those behaviors. Jeannine, what's the best way for people to reach you?
If they go to my website, www.JannineQuinn.com, there are links there to either message me directly on Facebook, on Instagram, or by email.
Awesome. And what are some steps that you're going to help people with when someone reaches out to you?
Our first step is a complimentary call together so I can understand the needs of the person reaching out to me and see if we're actually a good fit. There are certainly things that I'm going to be helping that person with, but the biggest part is the commitment of the individual to take the action steps that we would go through in 12 weeks of working together. So getting an understanding of what's actually holding that person back. What are they identifying right off the bat that is what's holding them back? Let's look at what's going to help make them unlock that potential and be clear on what it is exactly that they need to do. And just help to give them some enthusiasm and motivation to move forward. Everybody needs support. And we're going to go through steps in the modules about self-care and communicating, how we communicate, what we communicate. To me, that part is critical. I think we have to articulate what we want, and we also have to be actively listening. So that's part of my role as a coach and part of the client's role as well. And then looking at how do you get in touch with the magic that's inside of you. So the complimentary call is really to explore those steps. And if the person is committed to move forward, then we'll set up the program.
Amazing. Sounds like you are really passionate about helping people in their well-being and supporting them in their life to live their best life. What a great purpose. Would you say that's your purpose, actually, Jeannine, before I put words into your mouth?
Yes, I would. I really want to see people constructively speak up for themselves, ask questions, do the things that make them happy, that bring joy and passion and happiness to their life. I don't think we do enough of that. We get on this hamster wheel of, I need to do these things in order to have this, but is that really what it's all about? Again, life experiences, but at the end of the day, what's really going to matter is how did I treat other people? How did I spend time with my family and my loved ones, my friends? And did I impact their life in a positive way? And even if it was only for one person, to me, that's success. I want to be able to help you be motivated and empowered to live as your best self. And a lot of people are afraid to do that for many different reasons.
What a great way to measure success. I love that.
Listen, we say it in HR. I mean, you're not going to have 100% agreement on everything, but even if you get 50%, that's success. Everybody's going to have their own perception, their own idea, their own beliefs. Totally understand that. And I think part of what's important as an individual, at least for me, and again, it's what you learn over the course of your life, right? As you go through different things, to be known as somebody who doesn't judge, holds space for you, being respectful, I have compassion. Those are things you learn through your life. And sometimes I think we get lessons to help us learn them more. That's what's important. Those are the things that matter, is that you acknowledge people for exactly who they are. I was listening to an audiobook, and one of the particular topics that came up on it was judgment. And when we're trying to master ourselves, we have this view of how we believe we should look, how life should look, how we should be acting. So when we meet other people, we automatically think something. They've got a better car than me. They've got a better job than me. They've got this great family. We make a judgment. So whether we are aware or not, we may do it subconsciously, but we judge. And the conversation in the audiobook was going on, try and work hard at every time you meet someone, even when you're walking on the street, Do not think anything of that person. Just that you're meeting someone that you don't know. You have a smile, you say hello, you get to know who that person is. You don't make a judgment about, gosh, why aren't they riding a bike? Why aren't they running? Why aren't they wearing some different clothes? And I found myself really reflecting on that when I've been out hiking and biking and cycling, right? It was, again, not that we're not aware that happens. I think being very conscious of not judging someone, it's really hard because we put people into boxes.
Yes. And as much as we'd like to say, no, that's not me. It's true that subconsciously we do that. How's that hurting us?
It hurts us because we're already making a judgment about people that we have no knowledge of what has happened in their life. We don't know why they have the behaviors that they have. So we're already having some kind of an opinion about how they are. And authenticity asks that we be someone who judges free of bias. So we don't want to have bias. If we don't want to have bias, then we shouldn't be judging. Think about how we're treating each other. If from a faith perspective, whether you believe in God or spirit or energy, whatever that looks like for you, if we're present and in the moment and we want to be filled with energy and we believe that we're all one, so, earth, people, we're all one, then how do we move forward and start becoming more aware of the things that we're doing, that we're judging others, we're not being kind, we're not being compassionate, we're not being respectful? Are we really helping? Are we serving others? Are we helping out? Maybe that's a smile. Maybe that's helping them put the groceries in the cart. Maybe that's buying somebody a coffee. But do we do those things? We don't. Many of us don't.
And yes, and this is it's great awareness to bring awareness. And a lot of people take it for granted that the little things that they can do, like holding a door or smiling at a stranger, we take those things for granted because we are so into ourselves. But getting over ourselves, you said that before, get over yourself. And I think once we get over ourselves and we start thinking, okay, what can I do for others? How can I help others? That's when we start really making impact.
It's you're right. How do you treat people when you meet them on the street? Are you saying hello, good morning? Are you holding the door? Maybe you're in line to get coffee and you buy the person behind you, you buy their coffee. Maybe it's something like that. As I said, it's those simple little things that show others that there really are good humans in the world. There really are people who are kind and want to help. And that's what matters. It's not about judging them because they look a certain way or they're a certain ethnicity or they're a certain color. It's none of that. We are all one, and we should be learning about each other and learning what's unique and special and beautiful about every person that we meet. That allows people, in my opinion, to feel more safe, feel that they're not being judged, and allow them to be who they really are.
That's perfect. It's a perfect way to end this podcast on those exact words. Janine, thank you so much for giving us your time today. It was awesome talking to you and hearing all about your story and your passions and how you're helping everyone. It's really exciting to see this transformation. I always think if you're looking for a change in the world, start with yourself. And this is exactly the message I got from you today. There was a lot of healing words in your message. And I know that you are helping a lot of people live better lives. So I want to thank you so much.
Oh, thanks so much, Dilla. It's been my pleasure and my privilege to be on the podcast with you today. I'm really excited about the Rethink Fit initiative and all that we're doing to collectively make a change and difference in the world. And life really is a journey, and helping people to embrace all of it, not just the good things, is what's really important. Those are where we learn the lessons and how we become a more authentic person. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
For everyone who's been listening to this podcast, I want to thank you for your commitment to you. Please do share this podcast with others who might benefit from the information and the inspiration that was talked about here. This has been Rethink Fit and Grow Podcast, and I'm your host, Della Futuhi. Till next time. This episode of Rethink Fit and Grow Podcast was sponsored by JannineQuinn.com, professional life coach and mentor.